The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And Crystal?
Hey guys, how are you? Hope you've had a great week. It has been a super busy, crazy week.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's been off the chain in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
With the man that's temporarily residing at the White House. Wow. You never know when you turn on when you wake up in the morning. Hey, Patricia.
What's going to happen?
Right. You never know what's going to happen,
Exactly.
but you got to look, because
right.
if you don't, I think we need to actually have a bag packed by the door like they do pregnant women on the way to have babies.
You never know.
You never know.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell everybody, get your passport.
In small businesses, you pack up all your small business belongings.
Put it on
Get ready to go.
Small Biz Pro so you can access
Yeah, put
your
it
records.
on Small Biz Pro, exactly.
Hey, Dr. G, how you doing? It is so insane.
Yes, it is.
I had a little repertoire going back and forth with someone on my Facebook page, and they were blaming it. They were blaming this stalemate on Nancy Pelosi, like she has all the power. She can do what she can do, but it's still got to go to the Senate.
Exactly.
And Moscow Mitch is Moscow Mitch. He ain't signing up nothing. He won't even sign the gun bill right now.
They all have their own personal agenda.
They all have their own personal agenda. And so we were going back and forth. And so I felt like, excuse me, do you guys understand how the U.S. government works? Do you know what the process is? But I will say this. Hey, Angela, I will say this. You know, my mom was a very shrewd woman, and she usually would give you just enough rope, and then you get hung.
Just to destroy yourself.
Just to destroy yourself. So I think Nancy Pelosi is that type of woman.
Yep.
She is not a stupid woman.
Oh,
and I think she knew that based upon his personality, you give him an inch and he's going to take like 500 miles. So I think she knew that if she did what she did and the way she did it, that's exactly what was going to happen. Yep. And the more control and more power he thought he had. You know, what did he say yesterday? Something, when I took over the U.S. When you took over the U.S., you ain't took over nothing, dude. So just been crazy. And it's been a little stressful though. It's stressful. And I think America is exhausted. We're exhausted.
And I think, small businesses may finally get a seat at the table now. That's what we're thinking.
Well, we're hoping. We still got a little ways to go, though. And then you got to get folks elected in. So
That's right.
You never know. And it happened the first time. So unless they do something about the Electoral College, it could actually happen again. And then I'm going to say this. If he gets in there another term, we're done for. And that's just the bottom line, because he's that kind of person that if he feels he's won, then it's going to become the Wild Wild West.
Burn down the whole house.
And at this point, they don't care about burning down the house. They're only concerned about self. So which could make it very difficult for small businesses. I mean, look at the farmers, look at the truckers, look at anybody. And when you stop that circulation of money, and a recession is on its way. So every economist is saying that. So from a coaching standpoint, all our small businesses need to be shoring up to make sure that their monies or their business practices are not locked into one dimension.
Right.
They have to be.
They want to make sure they have a flexible strategy so they can take it anywhere and just set up shop and start functioning.
Right.
And that's really what it is.
I think they need to. You need to have an arm that's functioning, and some revenue is coming in from the online platforms, because that way, whatever happens, and internationally, not global, not just national, because everything's gonna be affected. If you guys remember in 2008, I don't know about y'all, but in 2008, 7 and 8, I lost like 65% of my business. Thank God I had other skills,
I get that.
and so that I could rebuild until I could get back. And I actually stepped away from the core of my business because there was no business there.
Right.
But I was still able to survive.
And that's another reason why, like you say, these small businesses, they need to focus on streams of revenue, not just one stream, not just two, but multiple streams of revenue, because the purpose of running a business is not only to generate revenues on a transactional basis, but you want to be able to make money while you're sleeping. So if you can set up a system that will generate you revenues while you're sleeping, then that's really how this is supposed to be. And that's part of what we're teaching. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with
Krista
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And this platform is a platform that helps small businesses to become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready with the information that we share on this platform. This is it's a radio show, but it's a video radio show. And Crystal is a consultant. I'm a consultant as well. And what we want to do is, it's like having a workshop online.
It is. And then when our guests come on, the other side of what Crystal does is she's the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. And it's so, hey, cuz, how you doing?
Yes.
2 cousins are online. It's very important, and I don't know if you guys don't get it by now, that there is no angel floating by to save you, and that it's all about us saving ourselves.
We have to save ourselves.
And so that means that you have to support other businesses, and those businesses need to support you in order for us to accumulate our wealth again. Right. And we have to close the wealth gap. That should be everybody's primary concern.
Right.
I recently read a book. It's called Black Fortunes. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was audio book, so when I'm stuck in traffic, that's what I do. And it highlighted 10 individuals that had been slaves, and when they were freed, ink had not even dried. They already start seeking out opportunities, and so they became millionaires within, some of them 6 months after, 6 months to a year after being given their freedom, and they weren't free before. It was after freedom. They used opportunities in order to establish their millions. But the best thing about them, hey Mo, how you doing? The best part about them was that they didn't forget about their own.
Right.
So within the whole purpose for them to make that money was to reach back and help the other slaves be able to find a position and to help, and in some cases free those that weren't freed yet, and making sure that they had an opportunity and they had occupation and a way to take care of their families.
In other words, sending the elevator back down. So
they sent the elevator back down. So I was so impressed. Now, if they can do it with no means right out of slavery, then we can do it with means, with no slavery. Well, there's slavery, but
which is a very good point, Crystal, because just before the ink dried on the paper, they started venturing out into entrepreneurship, which tells you that they've been busy steadily building their business model and that business plan.
Well, no, they didn't have a bit. Well, what they did was they had skills. So
and they've been developing it along because they knew.
Well, they knew. Yeah. They knew that if they were making, hey Rick, if they were making millions of dollars for their owners, and they were the ones doing the work.
Yes.
and actually implementing the programs. The owner didn't get out there and say, hey, go lay out that field of cotton.
Yes.
No, they did all of that.
And that's similar to someone working for an organization, maybe an agency, and then they decide one day, hey, you know what? I'm helping this person or this organization to become rich and wealthy. So here's what I'm going to do. Whatever I've been doing for them, I'm going to do it for myself now.
Exactly.
And I'm going to gather and attract my own client pool and start servicing it. And that's exactly
what I did. And there's one guy that what he did was he was an adult by this time and he'd already amassed his millions. But what he did was there was an outbreak of yellow fever or typhoid or one of those that literally devastated the town. I think it was smallpox and devastated the town, the town of which he lived in. He was in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. But the interesting piece is that, while we were in servitude, obviously we were taking care of the sick, the whatever, right? So we became immune to, our bodies built an immunity up to any of those crazy illnesses. And so we weren't dying. We just like, we don't die unless we put our...
It's kind of like your mom, when your mom has to take care of all of us when we're sick, right?
She don't get sick.
She doesn't get sick.
Right. So, because especially if she got more than 2 children, or definitely more than 3, then she doesn't get sick. She doesn't get measles. She don't get any of that sort of stuff. So, but what he did was, but his mind was working. And that's the thing that we have to get our mind looking and seeking out opportunities, even if it looks like, that might look a little bit morbid, but still is an opportunity.
Gotta go
for
it.
when the towns were being devastated, and then the ones that were afraid were packing their bags and leaving. He was going and scooping up the property for next to nothing. So he actually owned like 4 or 5, 10 streets of all the houses and all of the businesses.
Talking about having a plan.
He had a plan. So at one point he had an area, he had a business district, and then he had a red district.
Yeah, that's great. That is great.
So he had money, again, multiple streams of income.
Multiple streams of revenue
and recognizing opportunities when they present themselves.
Yes. And the question I want to ask our audience out there today is, how many of you really, really, really think that you have multiple stream of revenues for your business right now? You may have your main source of revenue because you're exhibiting your core competencies, and that's what you're being paid for. But what other streams are there? And one of the things that I really want our audience to know is that real estate is really, really a great way for us to become wealthy.
Right.
There's no other way.
You can't do it in California. You're going to have to go outside of California to make some money in real estate, because we're pretty much done for.
And a big part of why you should tap into real estate, and even if you're thinking that, I don't want to have rental properties, I want you to think of it this way. If you have a storefront right now, you're renting someone else's property and you're paying them rent, you're paying them leases. So they have the right to get rid of you at any point.
And they do.
And they do.
Right.
And that's why many small businesses live for a short while and then they die, because you start doing very well and the landlord sees that and say, oh, wow, here's what we're going to do. We're going to evict you, and all this tenant improvement that you've done, it's all mine now.
Because you can't take it with you.
Exactly.
So you might, obviously you do in commercial property, you do have contracts, but once those leases are up, and then as soon as the lease is up, then they start, and that's what's happening now. They started putting, there are literally people that are paying, little small spaces, probably not even 500, 600 square feet, are paying $10,000, $15,000 just to be in those, because they see that, just commercial has been gentrified as well.
Right.
So, because if they're gentrifying with the people, then they got to come back and gentrify in the commercial space.
Exactly.
So you guys have to understand this, because if a particular neighborhood gentrifies and turns a different hue, so to speak, then their stores and all the businesses have to represent that particular hue, which means that whoever was there is going to be pushed out, especially if you do not own that building.
And we've seen that here on the Crenshaw corridor right here.
Crenshaw, now Inglewood, anything up Western. I mean, you just name it because the rent's cheaper and they can't afford out there, so they're moving They're moving east,
right?
And so they're sucking up everything. So if you want to and this is not just in California. It's really bad because we live here. It's all over the country.
Yeah, gentrification is alive and well, and we've seen it here on the Crenshaw corridor where they're building this rail facility, and they're pushing out all the small businesses that were here on Crenshaw Boulevard. So now those small businesses that's been here for 10, 15, 20 years renting from landlords, they get kicked out. The landlords get compensated, and the small business has started low.
And in fact, just there was a number of, and then there was 100 maybe 50 in the Crenshaw exposition, and so business as well. And so the mom pops. So when they first had Crenshaw for the construction, we lost some businesses, and then I really heard another 109.
They're looking for their customers and what customers do? They go elsewhere. Customers, we want things, these complications. So if we go to product serve from, we can park, we got our way,
and walk.
It's
on your website, and they can actually purchase your product, and then you have to work on your delivery system, your model of your business distribution, so that you can make sure that you can still get your product out and you market the convenience in this inconvenient time so that it won't come. If you know your customers and another resource in order to be able to support you,
there are many ways that you can generate revenue. You know, Chris mentioned one about your price long. Another thing is that you can email parts, or you can have an affiliate program. So all the people for you, all people are here and telling customers your product services. If I am with incentive, something that telling about business, and this is all with the after. So that's the way I see about multiples of revenue.
Every day you need setting out to the end of the year, so you January 1st. You're doing and don't pay to make money. Don't pray to make money. But Ross Perot, if make money, you got to pay the money. It's all about making money.
Just small businesses. Biz entrepreneurship is about risk. You got to take risk. So if you're generating goods or generating a cost from your service or your business, then you just have to pay on. You got to ways to increase that revenue.
Exactly. This is a topic I was very serious. And when the business the couple of find of hopefully you very publicly your home not hopefully bring danger, and so there's things that are going on, and young people that have the instinct to know, or the instinct to know danger when lying and things like that. Some major danger there during that time. When I was growing up and dating, we had my girls and my friends, we had a whole chain network. When you went out with somebody new, you laid out, hey, here's the number, this is what he looked like, this is his car, this is his family, this is where his mama and daddy live, this is where his sisters and brothers live. So if I don't come back, you going out there and y'all kick some butt in order to get me back. But nowadays, that same thing is not happening because they're meeting people online, right? And so you don't have,
trusting a lot
and you're
of people.
trusting people.
People you don't even know.
Yeah, because I'm uncomfortable. I used to do major dating in my dating years on online. When Match first came out, I've probably been on all of them, and I did a lot of dating online. But I know how to discern. I know how to ask questions. I know when the red flags pop up in the conversation before I meet them, and then I always went to a big public place. But not everybody has those critical thinking skills like I do.
Or survival skills.
So we have someone today that's going to come on and teach like a target board, and then we take our red stiletto heels and then we learn how to hit some folks in a square in the middle of the head.
I love that.
All of us got our heels, so use our heels as a weapon.
I love it. And as female entrepreneurs, you're always going to be out there conducting this. So you always ready what we did.
Readiness. So it's a readiness level. Well, so I think it was a very viable topic that needs to be discussed, and so I'm excited about her. Before we go to commercial break, I want to. Kenise is my family member, is my brother-in-law's niece, and she's about to have her baby anytime soon. So I assume, since you're online right now with me, meaning that you're on maternity leave right about now.
That means she already had the baby.
No, she hadn't had the baby yet. We hadn't got that phone call. So we're excited and waiting to hear about the new man that's coming into our family. We're excited about that.
I hear that.
Greg, hey, how you doing? Muhammad, how you doing? Rick Perkins, all the way from Texas. Hello, how are you?
I hope he'll become an entrepreneur.
The baby? We don't know. I don't know. We had the baby shower and it was all football. So his dad's a football player. So I think he's going to be sports. But he could be an entrepreneur in the sports world. So that'll be really cool. So we're going to go away for a break.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a quick break right now for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and bring on our next guest. And I'm very excited about hearing what this guest has to say.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure many female entrepreneurs out there can benefit from it.
Oh, yeah. With the Me Too movement going on, you know, that just on, hey, Margot, on Sunday, this past week, a realtor, and, you know, I'm always concerned about my sister because she's a realtor, was attacked by a lunatic.
Yes.
You saw that on the news.
I saw that on the news. So, we can touch on that, too.
Yeah, my sister always has her hammer behind the counter when she's in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah?
And she always has her hammer and her rocks, her socks and her rocks.
I often tell them, get that pepper spray. Get that pepper spray, you know?
My cousin used to say rocks and socks and rocks and socks is a good weapon.
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and take a break. You're watching and listening to The Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Take a break.
All right.
Small businesses spend more than $500 million each year combined trying to find missing or replace missing paperwork. Hey small businesses, are you tired of losing out on business opportunities because your paperwork is not in order? And don't you hate having to register in multiple websites just to find a single procurement opportunity that may not even be worth your time? Well, worry no more. Small Biz Pro is the solution to your problems. Small Biz Pro is an all-in-one cloud-based business management, compliance, and procurement assistance software platform that keeps small businesses organized, contract-ready, bank loan-ready, with quick access to procurement opportunities, as well as market research data. Here are some of the features and benefits that you receive when you use Small Biz Pro to run your business daily. Superior record keeping at your fingertips, back office management and compliance, quick access to bids and procurement opportunities in government databases. It allows you to conduct easy market research and gather industry statistics. Government certification preparedness and compliance checklists. Easy HR and general operations management functionality. Bank loan readiness preparation and cash flow management. Certified payroll and labor compliance reporting. Business dictionary with defined business terms. A cloud-based business management platform that keeps small businesses organized and ready, even nonprofits. Business documents securely stored in the cloud. Data fully encrypted and protected by triple firewall reinforcements. On-the-spot document retrieval for quick decision-making. Bank-level data security for compliance. Document expiration alerts and advanced notifications. It uses security restrictions to block out unauthorized users, and much more. Try it out today for only $5 for the first 30 days. What are you waiting for? Go to www.smallbizpro.net and register now, or your competitors will. Small Biz Pro, keeping small businesses organized, business ready, and contract ready.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And Crystal, who do we have in the studios today?
We have a young lady who's, and I think she's the first person I've met that has this type of business. I'm sure there are many others, but especially that looks like me. So, so that's all I'm concerned about. Sorry about that, people, but that's the truth. So Miss Tonda Linsey.
Yes.
Okay. She is a former police officer, female self-defense instructor, sexual assault advocate, and entrepreneur. With over a decade of policing experience in Metro Atlanta, Tonda close to the tragic effects of what can happen when women and girls alike are not equipped to deal with threats to their safety. While transitioning out of law enforcement, she decided to officially do something about this issue and empower females around the country in self-defense. She initially consulted and trained with one of the nation's go-to experts, Steve Cardian, on issues of women's safety. After that experience, she combined her knowledge, coupled with her personal experience and police officer training, to birth Empowered Defense in 2013.
Beautiful.
So welcome, and this is her book, everyone.
Yeah.
If you can see it, there you go. Her book called Fear.
Fear.
Fear. Modern Day Woman's Self-Defense Guide.
Welcome to the Business Zone.
Welcome. So happy to have you.
This is the book right here.
Yeah, this is cool. So tell us a little bit about you. That was a nice transition from law enforcement. Usually there's security companies and stuff but from law enforcement to self-defense.
Yeah, so as I was transitioning out of almost an 11-year career in law enforcement, I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to abandon everything I learned, all of my experiences and training in that field. And fast forward to self-defense came up, and specifically for women and girls because there was such a need. I used to train field officers in the field. And so I knew I was good at teaching. People were really receptive to me. I enjoy, sharing knowledge. I'm an information junkie. Yeah.
That's a good thing. So are we.
Yes. So, you know what? I prayed about it, and self-defense came up. I found some techniques that were valuable that actually worked. And more importantly, that people can learn quickly and remember in times of stress. Yeah. Right. And I coupled that with my training and, everything that I had already and birthed Empowered Defense in 2013. Right. And so I educate, train, and empower women to be able to save themselves.
Do you have videos?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. Is it on YouTube, or do you package it to sell?
There's some on YouTube. I have a reel. But if you follow me on Empowered Defense at Instagram and on Facebook, there's definitely, and go to the website, you can see more pictures and video there.
What's the name of your website?
It's myempowereddefense.com.
myempowereddefense.com.
Yes. And actually, if you just text FFEAR to 31996, I have a tutorial video, just a brief one that you can see and, get logged in. And I'll.
So before I get into your business and start delving into your skills, your expertise, and all of that, you started a business, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually, it's funny because my very first business officially was a laundromat.
Oh, really?
That's not a bad thing.
Well, it wasn't a experience that was in vain, but it definitely was a learning experience. But I never planned on staying that long in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a 3 to 5 year plan. And
I like it, a girl with a plan.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was supposed to go to law school. That didn't happen. So maybe phase 4, I'll go back to law school. But I was looking for a business and I was trying to transition out of law enforcement because I was rounding up that 5th year,
See?
And so I was doing research. I started going to conferences and, finding mentors and really just diving deep in real estate. Yeah. And so, a laundromat was my first business.
Really? Was it profitable?
No. And I had to sue the owner. That's a whole nother story.
So it was a messy transaction to start. So that's probably why it wasn't profitable.
In that season of my business career, my life, I learned so much. Yes. Like I got closer to God. I learned to listen to myself, which is also part of self-defense and trusting your gut.
Got to trust that gut.
So not only does that happen in self-defense, but it's holistic. And that's what kind of classes I teach. Yeah. These are life principles. Yes. So when something doesn't feel right, when something is not, lining up, you need to trust that and go with it, even if you can't explain it right then and there.
And our system is designed specifically for that, right?
There are literally mind-body connections. There are so many things within your gut. Now, I'm not no doctor or nothing like that, but, that's part of the the body is so amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many things.
But even as a police officer, you have heightened sense, and you learn to recognize those.
Absolutely.
In order to protect yourself, right?
Yes.
So it's
you
the same.
need fear. That's why I named the book F Fear, and it's not.
Now what's the F for?
The F is for. Thank you, Gilbert. So the F is for face. Now you can say the other F, but I didn't name the book that. I wanted to keep it PG.
The empowering part is
Now you can replace that F with whatever you want to. But it's called face fear because the only way to get on the other side of fear is to face it. We have to go through it. You need that journey. You need fear to really protect yourself.
Right.
But you have to learn to use it to benefit you.
Right.
Otherwise, that predator is going to use it against you.
Oh, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
So what would be some of the things, when a young woman, let's go with young women because they might not have the same.
It's not the same as when I grew up.
Right, exactly. And then those of us of a certain age, we the sirens go off immediately when you hear certain things in conversations. But I don't know if our children or our young girls and young women are in tune to that. So what are some of the things that they should listen to? The first step in their body.
So I'm going to give you something that's easy to remember. Now, in class, I tell women and girls alike to keep their head on a swivel. And what that basically means is you need to know what's going on around you.
Yes.
Now, swivel, I broke down into an acronym because honestly, I came up with it to help me and to help my students.
Okay.
Because I was even having trouble remembering all the self-defense principles to teach. Okay. And I'm like, God, you're going to have to help me out here because I need something that will help me help them.
Right.
So swivel is what I used to say. And then I came up with this acronym. So the S stands for scan your surroundings. And the W is we, not me, which means there is power in people. Right. You need to, if you're with people, stay with them.
Right.
If you are not with people, go towards people because there's power in numbers. The I is intuition. Trust your intuition. Trust your gut. That is your God-given alarm system.
Right.
So intuition needs to inform your decisions. Right. The V is for voice speaks victory. You need to use your voice. There's so many tools that you have within yourself without outside weapons. You need to learn how to use them. So voice speaks victory. Let people know, look, you don't need to come any closer to me.
Right.
Now, if they do, that should send off some flags because you need to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right, exactly.
Earlier, right?
All right, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
The E is for escape. You need to know your exits. You need to know how you're going to get out of a situation. So there's layers to that.
Oh, yeah.
And then the L is levels save lives. Wow. Now, what do I mean by levels? Levels are boundaries. So if somebody has to go through so many steps to get to you, you are a hard target, which is what you want to be.
Right,
they don't want to exert that much energy.
Right.
So predators and people who are looking to take advantage of others, they go after easy targets.
Low-hanging fruit.
Exactly, the low-hanging fruit. So what you want to do is implement levels and boundaries to protect yourself. Right. So keep your head on a swivel.
Oh, that's
swivel
beautiful.
to safety.
I love that.
I love that. And that's one of the things my sister attends that my brother-in-law is always teasing her. She goes, you never are aware your surroundings. But me, when I hit wherever I am, I know what color people are. I think at some point I probably should have been a police officer or a detective because I can tell you, and they'll go, but I'll say, do you remember so and so and so? They had on red shoes and a blue jacket and their hair was fixed. She goes, how do you remember all that stuff? Or how do you know that?
Yeah, women naturally have that instinct and those skills.
Right.
Yeah. And I've put this to the test before, right? You walk in a room and a woman will be in that room and a guy will come in and they'll just look at him 2 seconds. And they can tell you a lot about it. He's wearing gray.
You have to pay attention.
He's 5'11".
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you keep your eyes, especially if you're there entrance, you keep your eye on.
So women naturally have those instincts.
You have those. And I've used them for my networking. When I go into a networking event, I
kind of
scan,
right?
I scan the room to know who I need
Who's in the room.
One, who I know, and then secondly, who I need to know.
Yes.
And if there's somebody in there that needs to get me to somebody else. Right. So that's my technique for force, and I'm very good at networking.
But we have so many things about us as women and girls that we just don't realize. And we need to use our strengths for us and use them against a man's weaknesses.
Yes.
Right.
So you can't fight a man like a man.
No.
You have to use what you already
Psychology.
have. Take what you have and use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is so beautiful. We should try to get her in on one of our workshops.
Yeah. So
anytime I can, spread the word and spread this wealth, I'm open to it. So I just really appreciate it.
Is your business located here in Los Angeles?
I am nationwide. I am based here. I'm a Georgia girl.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, Georgia girl in a Cali world.
I hear that.
But I actually just came back from Charlotte. I taught a workshop there at the Black Girls Run conference, Sweat with Your Soul.
Oh, okay.
And that was amazing. So I travel to different groups around the country and, teach self-defense. I speak. So, yeah.
And so
I'm mobile.
What do you teach in your self-defense classes?
I start women off in the workshops basically in the worst position possible, which is you are about to get raped. Now, that's a little unorthodox. People might be like, okay, that makes no sense. But
it can happen, though.
Mentally,
so,
if you know that you can get out of the worst position possible, that everything that is going to lead up to getting to that level 10, mentally, you're like, oh, I got this. So it's a mind thing. Self-defense is a mindset.
Yes.
It's not just when you physically defend yourself. Really, that's the last thing you want to be position you want to be in.
Okay.
The mindset is everything.
And then,
awareness and intuition.
And then the thing is, once you practice that over and over, then it becomes muscle memory.
Exactly.
So you don't even have to think about, because when we, like you said earlier, when we experience fear, then we throw everything out the window and we try to do something that's not supposed to be a part of the plan.
Yeah.
And then that's how we get hurt.
Trying to decide in the moment something is happening is too late.
But once it becomes muscle memory.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, every situation is not going to be the same. But you have a baseline, something to work from.
Yes.
And you adjust.
Yes.
And that's part of the fear part. It's like you want to expose yourself to as many scenarios as possible. And visualization. Even if you don't have to a space to physically practice something, if you just sit there and visualize you winning, you having victory, you surviving, you figuring out what would I do if then what, that's powerful too. So it's so many ways you can protect yourself and give yourself a leg up, an advantage.
And to prevent that from happening.
Yes, reducing your risk is the key.
And then if it does happen, so we all know that just with what has gone on with the Me Too movement, with Robert Ailes, Roger Ailes and all of those, not after it's happening, what are their steps? And I know a lot of people don't want to tell anybody because, one, they're embarrassed that they allowed it to happen. They take blame for that.
Well, it's not that they allow it.
They feel that they've allowed it. They feel that they've allowed it to happen, that there could have been something they could have done. But, of course, they're paralyzed with fear. And then some
you never can control what another man does.
Right, exactly.
So anybody who has been in that situation, just know it is not your fault ever. But you don't have to stay where you're at. You have the power still to dictate how you move forward and how your life will be moving forward. And it's a process. So there are resources out there, and it's normal. Also know it is normal to feel that way, to feel defeated, to feel angry, upset, like blame yourself. Those are all normal feelings. But you don't know, because in your head you may feel like it's only me. But there are resources, there are support groups out there. There is a national sexual assault hotline out there as well, and domestic violence. And there are trained practitioners and resources that are available in your area. They will help you walk you through the process to getting help and on the other side of what you're going through. Now, please just go to a hospital. Take somebody with you, because that is a daunting process of getting that rape kit. I want you to look into the
camera and tell them, because they need to know this.
Where are we? Right
your
here?
Camera is
right here.
Right here. That's your camera.
There are resources out there. You are not alone. Talk to somebody. And recently, somebody shared with me that they did report it, and they went to the police station, and the police officers, detectives, make them feel like that they couldn't prosecute this person because they weren't going to win. Yeah. It's not about the win. Right. Get your story out there, get your statement out there, and force that hand of that police officer or whoever is taking the report. They just want the easy way out. Right. It's about reporting it their job. Because they don't just rape one person. Right. Get your story out there. Have somebody go with you. Call the hotline. Yeah. Go get your rape kit at the hospital. Yes. And no matter what anybody tells you, just keep pushing forward. Definitely. Time is of the essence as well.
Yeah, so they need to right away.
Yes.
And I'll be able to do it. I saw, and this is based upon a true story. It's a Netflix original that came out last week. I think it's called Unbelievable. Yeah. I was just blown away. This person it was a serial rapist, but he was so good at it. And the reason he was so good at it, and this took place, one of the rapes took place, the first opening one, it was like 3 different cases going on, or 4 different storylines, but one of them took place in the state of Washington. Mm-hmm. And but he only stayed there for a short period of time, and he raped a young lady in her house. She was an emancipated minor, and she was living in an apartment that other emancipated minors were living there. Wow. And he came in quietly. Nobody saw anything. He left no DNA, nothing. And as the story evolved, and so she went to the police because she was just. He kept her there for like 7-8 hours. Wow. And so she called one of her former foster parents, mom, and she came and they called the police. Yeah. And they're like, well, they went on forever. And finally it's like, we're going to close the case. And the police officers, unfortunately, they were males. And so they kept saying, well, this makes no sense. So you must be lying. Mm-hmm. Right, and so she felt so bad about it, and the damage is a lot of shame, and the damage that took place. So one, she was violated by the perpetrator.
Which is why people don't report it.
Right. And then she was violated again by the police officer because they were males. Yeah. So, and then the story moves to Denver, to Colorado. Yeah. And then these police officers were women. Mm. So they were like, oh, no, we can't. And then they determined that this man had been raping women. Yeah, but what they found was on the internet, in the dark web, some police officer had written, I guess for his colleagues and for those that actually work those type of cases, a manual on what to look for. The perpetrator, he got that book, and it's in the dark web. So it's anybody that's of that nature, and he studied it, and so and that was why the police they couldn't find anything because he did everything that they told him that you should be looking for. Right. And it took years.
Now, those are very rare cases. Right. I just want people to know the main predators out there are people in your backyard.
Right? Yeah. People that you know.
Yes.
Friends of the family.
Friends, your spouse, your neighbor, your coworkers, people who you're acquainted with, that just may be around. Yes. Those majority of the time are those perpetrators, which makes it even more difficult.
Right. Because you lower your defensive mechanism. Yes. You're welcoming them.
Yeah.
And then and I would imagine you're also afraid of what the retributions will be afterwards if there's somebody that you know and that are connected to especially on the internet. We're all connected, not even 6 degrees anymore.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's so many emotions, but that's why I want people today to decide to get your group together who's going to be your go-to, because not only is there power in numbers to help protect yourself, but if something happens, you need that support group. It's like, look, this is my safety net. When you have people go with you, it makes it a little bit easier to move through that because you're not alone.
Right.
So you need people you can trust. And if you don't have anybody, then there's hotlines there as well. And I'll give you that.
Everyone, this is a business zone with...
No.
What happened?
How
do I stop this?
For whatever reason you stop, you have to go back. So
really quickly, the hotlines for sexual assault are 1-800-656-HOPE. and that's 4673. And then for domestic violence, it's 1-800-799-7233. So SAFE. Spell out SAFE.
SAFE.
Excellent.
Okay, and I'll put that in the description box on the show. So let me ask this. So do you? So obviously, people reach out to you to have you conduct workshop, defense workshop. Do you have any of your own? Do you?
I do, especially in April, which is Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Okay.
So I usually try to put on a class, of my own in the area, either here or Atlanta. I've done them in both. But yes, I do my own, but not consistently.
Okay.
So in between, when people aren't, having me out for their own groups, then, I'll put some classes together.
Right.
Okay. No, that's excellent.
I think this is amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
In a lot of ways. One is an entrepreneur, two is a woman, three helping other women. 4, you're disseminating information that a lot of women don't know. They don't know what to do. So this is very helpful. And then on top, you got the videos and all of that.
Yeah. And, I do want to make something a point, because I heard you guys mention something about this earlier, but I think representation is important.
Yes.
So like you said, Crystal, people who look like you.
Yeah.
When you look out there in reference to the self-defense world, it's a lot of white men and white women. And so when I was, like I said, coming out of law enforcement, low-hanging fruit are people who are in poverty, who have mental illness, who are black and brown, so nobody is reaching. Exactly. So
and they're the more vulnerable.
Exactly.
Right? And less likely for people to really hear them and to do something about them. So,
so that is why it's important for me to be in this space as well.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. And I'm just always so fearful. I have a niece, but I've always been, when she first came here, she was living in Egypt. And so when she came here, she was 21. I was like terrified that because she didn't understand the language, she didn't know the culture, she didn't understand like men. It was just a whole thing. But one of the things that she would do, because she didn't understand the language, she would, if she met a guy, and she's a pretty beautiful young lady, when she met a guy and then they would call, she'd give them the number and they would call and then ask for, then they, use slang. So she's barely used to English. And so then they use slang. She'd go, wait a minute, ask my auntie. So then they would call and I'd say, she wants me to translate. So what are you asking? And where do you want to meet her? And what color car? And then I got to interrogate, right? And then I got to say, and if you think that she's vulnerable, she's not. Right. She knows how to call me and she knows how to reach me, and I'll have no problem coming to kick your butt. So just know,
that
you
village.
better be your best on your best behavior. But see, a lot of young women don't have that, right?
Yeah, it's different. Like, when I was growing up as well, there was that village. My uncle was like, who you talking to? Who?
Right.
When somebody would call me on the phone, he would be speaking to him. And this was when I was good and grown. So just imagine, but I had a village of great men who were there for me, and women. So today, with the internet and social media, most communication is nonverbal.
Nonverbal.
So when you're sitting there texting, you don't know the inflections, you don't know what anybody sounds like, what they look like, you can't read their facial expressions, and that a lot of times, and energy. Vibration is important. And that's what your fear. So. Yes, that's when that intuition and those signals will kick in. You have to have FaceTime with somebody, and even talk to them on the phone so you can get those signals.
And that's the other thing on the phone, because when you're texting, you're reading it, right? So you're processing, and then they got to come back and it's like, okay, how should I answer this, right?
Yes.
Whereas if you're having a conversation and you listen and you hear somebody take a stop.
Yes, even the silence.
Right, like, okay, what the heck? Why you got to think about this? Especially if it's a question that should be able to rattle off right here.
Yes.
And so when I was doing online dating, that's what I did. We chit-chat online for like a day. And it's like, okay, now here, give me your phone number. And let us have some conversation. And I learned very early on that let him talk. I just interjected a few little questions, and then I just let him ramble on, and then I was able to pick out or discern. And did he have a problem with his previous girlfriend? Because they'll tell you everything. Yes. If you give them the open floor to have a conversation.
If you give somebody enough rope, they'll hang themselves.
They will hang themselves. And that's just what I said. And then you go, no. And then if you do go out on a date, and this is for anyone that's dating, especially with Tinder and all of these ones that they already have ulterior motives, because the sites are set up for that.
Yes.
It's for casual encounters.
Yeah. And not that you have to just be cautious and, move strategically when you're using those platforms. Because I have friends who've met people online and got married and, happily ever after or whatever. But I do this talk as well, like how to swipe right. Yeah. And because, it's a lot of swiping. So you have to swipe, safely.
Right.
And so Domestic Violence Awareness Month is coming up next month. I'm going to do another webinar in reference to, safety and online dating and just, relating to what you're talking about. Because every day there's another story about somebody getting in the wrong car, or the driver was not the driver. It was somebody different.
I just heard that recently.
Yeah,
and with children,
people just aren't paying attention.
They're not paying attention.
I want to share something with you that I did with my ex-girlfriend, and I told her that we should establish a word or color or a phrase that if she's in trouble, and I'm speaking to her on the phone, or if I'm within earshot, I can know she's in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm thinking something like that would be good to include in your seminar.
That's part of your safety plan.
Yes.
I talk about creating safety plans. That's a good thing to do.
Because, sometimes the person might be on the phone and the perpetrator is next to them, but they can't really say certain things.
Yeah.
So if there's that color or that word that you both established and they said, purple, hey, I'm in trouble right now. So come and get me.
Right.
Yes.
So,
or something that you don't do. Like if I were saying, I'm getting ready to eat almonds, and everybody knows that I'm allergic to almonds, or I'm allergic to mushrooms. Like, oh my, I'm having mushrooms, or gosh, how I hate mushrooms. Yeah. Now I'm in trouble, right?
Yes.
And so having those conversations. But if you know the people and they know you, then they know what your needs are, right? And so I think I saw something the other day, and someone was saying, they were asking her, did she want a cup of coffee? And throughout the whole thing, she was saying, no, I don't drink coffee anymore. It makes me too hyper. And then finally, when she's somewhere and she's trying to tell somebody she's in trouble, she goes, and she had to meet somebody, and she goes, here, you can have my cup of coffee. And then they're like, wait a minute, she don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
So, but that again, utilizing the people in your group or your network that can keep you safe.
Yes. Make a plan that's going to work for you.
Right,
And your children. It's good for children, too.
For sure.
Yeah, because kids, so many parents, I do a class in the summer, a biz camp for kids, and so many parents would send their kids by Uber.
The Uber.
And so we would have to go when the Uber driver came up. Then my interns or one of us, or the instructors, we'd go up, check the person, the app, and then make sure it's the same person. Yeah. So we wouldn't be putting the child in the car with somebody that wasn't.
And they have a kid Uber now. I don't remember the name of it, but they're specifically for that.
Yeah, I ran into a lady at the
name of the business.
Rouse last week, right up the street from here, and so she says, "This is how." And I know. My parent wouldn't have never done this, but she says she picks kids up at 4:00 in the morning to take them to school. If they're in Southgate and then they're going to school in the Valley, she's picking kids up. Kids are out at 4 or 5.
At that time?
It's dark at 4:00 in the morning.
I'm a big safety buff. When it comes to safety, security, because I'm always thinking someone is going to do something.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
I don't sit with my back to the door.
No, right, exactly.
I thought it was a Jamaican thing.
No, actually it's police officer thing, but it's also a male thing. Exactly. Most men like to sit at the front.
We never
now,
sit
if I'm with a man, that's the only time. But it has to be one I trust.
Right, exactly.
Even if I trust them, I'm not putting my back there. Because you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
That's true.
So, I dated a lot of police officers, so they have to be at the door. Why? And it was, okay, I get
Even at my home, we have a steel gate, security gate, right? And I'm always locking that because you never know. You know, someone might decide to rob someplace and decide they're trying to hide. You don't want them coming into your house.
It's funny because I'm a realtor here in LA too. Yeah. So my broker and I used to go door knocking. Yeah. And the way that I would go up to the doors, he would always tease me. And I'm like, now if they come out with a shotgun.
Exactly.
But I would go up to the door and then I would stand to the side and have space.
Yes.
But now he does it too though. So I'm like, you have to be safe. You never know. You don't know.
Well, look at the young lady.
You don't know who is behind the door.
Right. And look at the young lady that was the realtor. She was an open house.
Yes.
Like my sister, they only do open houses in pairs. They're off his own. That's mandatory. Yeah. But she had said that he was at an open house the week before.
Yeah, she remembered him.
And she felt something weird about him then. Yeah. And when he came and then he kind of lingered. So he was the last one.
Now
there.
She did very well. I watched the video.
Okay.
She did good. And I'm, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. But I just want people to learn from her incident. She trusted her instinct in reference to not getting lured back into the house.
Exactly.
Right.
And she knew something was off with this guy. Mm-hmm. But she still had her guard down. She was on the phone. Her distance was way too close to him. She took her eyes off of him, which is how he was able to, push her like that.
Yeah.
She was like, too close.
Yeah, she should have.
She already had her. She already knew she didn't feel safe around him, and she knew what he was trying to do, but she didn't follow through with still holding her ground and preparing for the worst position possible, for the worst thing to happen. And she still had her guard down just a little bit.
Yeah, and did she have pepper spray?
No, she didn't. She had, and she went out the door first, as opposed to ushering him out the door.
Okay.
And so he was behind
I only saw
her.
when they were at the front.
Yes, she had already walked past him and was standing right there at the ledge. He actually looked back up into the camera.
He kept doing that.
Yeah, he looked up to the camera.
Yes.
But he had also done it to other realtors because when they arrested him.
Yeah, they said he had groped some other ones and things like that. But it's a very dangerous. It's just like, traffic stops, open houses and door knocking is very dangerous for realtors.
I would love for us to continue doing this for a long time.
Fun.
Our time has come. And
it's been a great conversation.
Yes, thank you.
So tell them how they reach you, how they get your book.
Yes, you can get my book from me directly on the website at myempowereddefense.com. My number is 323-302-2967 and on social media at Empowered Defense.
And your name again?
My name again is Tonda Linsey. You can text FFEAR to 31996 to get on the list and get all the goodies.
And swivel
to safety. Yes. Keep
your
head on a swivel.
And you guys can go get her book so you can find out what that really means. Follow her on Instagram. She's got some great videos I saw. And next time she has a defense class, we'd love to all be.
Actually, we're going to do one, I think, for the audience here.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what Dawn wanted to do.
Yeah, so Dawn, when she opens up her new studio.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So we'll try to get her back on the show.
Yeah,
there's a lot we haven't covered.
It's so much.
We'll bring you in like a quarter. There's a big issue. We'll bring you in so you can quarterback.
Never enough time.
Monday night quarterback, so we can learn from those. You got anything going on?
Well, I can't think of it now because.
All right. So it's been another great Friday. RBD meeting coming up. Oh, I do have to tell you guys this. If you want to get into the RBD resource guide, Recycling Black Dollars resource guide for 2020, our membership drive has started and our advertising drive has started because we want to make sure that we're supporting each other's business. If we don't know you exist, we can't support you. So don't be the best kept secret in Los Angeles. You are in business to make money, and we can't support you. So check our website, and I will be sending out a notice, a blast, and you can get for the first 100 calls, you can get your ad, half-page ad, and membership for $200, and it's worth it because we also want to rebate or refer you. So make sure you reach out to me at 323-447-7272 to find out how you can get your ad into the Black Business Resource Guide. Recycling Black Dollars has been publishing this book for 15 years, and it's kind of important that we know where our Black businesses are located. Okay.
Very good. So, again, this has been another wonderful show on the Business Zone. Tuning every Friday from 3 to 4. And if you need to call us, our phone number is 323-293-3375. And you're listening to
Krista
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. We're out.
All right. See you next week.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control.